that. Okay, and then yeah, this is our first session, right? We haven't. I'm not crazy, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
how long you been playing TFT?
I want to say set 10,
Hmm.
I think. So not the one with disco, but the one previous to that.
Okay, I think set 10
So
was Disco. So 9, the one with Legends.
I don't remember. I played like the last week, like
Okay, okay,
barely,
okay.
like a few games, but the one with KDA, Akali and
Oh, okay,
Arya and
okay.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I played that, got to plat, and then the following set I ended up getting to diamond or emerald. I can't remember, either emerald or diamond. And then
Hmm.
last set I was diamond.
Hmm.
And then this set, I don't know. It's just I play more now than I did. Well, I take that back. Last set I think I had like I had a ridiculous amount of games. Like it was up there with like the top pros. It
Okay.
was just stupid.
Hmm.
Um, but this set it just feels like my issues are just kind of confusing. Like I'm getting high rolled a lot where like there's three other people in the lobby who have all 2 star 5 costs by like barely level 9 and we're in the middle of
Hmm.
stage 5 and I'm
Hmm.
getting to level 8 and trying to just slow roll
Right.
and keep my econ up. Um but I think one of the bigger things because I just started kind of like diving deeper into like looking into stats and different items and stuff and how different comps work. And I don't think I'm playing like best boards a lot. I think I'm just kind of playing linear with a
Hmm.
comp. Like, oh, the best comp in general is, 6 scrap with 2 form swapper and then whatever else.
Hmm.
But diving deeper into it, like you can pivot off of that and play 6 scrap for form swapper. And then I look at BIS items a lot and I just try to BIS item characters and I get it.
Hmm.
Like Rumble, BIS items more, Gangplank, stuff like that. But I don't know if it hurts me in the long run to do that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is like a very common. Both of the things you're talking about are very common traps I see people falling into. Where, like, one, yeah, you say I'm going to play a scrap comp, and that means I am one that like I'm going to play like a very straightforward, just put the scrap units on my board in the early game and try to get to scrap into the late game, where you might be then missing some like much stronger boards that you could play early. And then two, that they're like saying, okay, I'm just going to roll down for this exact same board. And I'm always going to play this board, which is, yeah, like just playing kind of like inflexibly and focusing in on a few specific units, whether it's the early game or the like mid to late game, I think is something I see a lot of people doing. And then also, like you talked about, like BIS items, like perfect items are some items matter more than others, and I think the much bigger thing to focus on is just people call it like item economy. The idea of like, okay, I'm gonna make this item because it's an okay item, but it's gonna make my future items a lot better. I think a lot of people do the kind of reverse of that, and they say, I'm gonna make this IE because it says to always put IE on Corki or something, or I'm gonna build this
Mm.
Warmogs because it says Warmog's really good on like Garen or something, and not realize that had I built something a little bit, maybe I am supposed to make like a Death Blade, which is like, okay on Corki. Maybe it's not like the most commonly built strongest item, but it's like good enough. And that allows me to say like free up that glove for something else like a Last Whisper or something like that. So I think that's a
Yeah.
very common thing I see is just people slamming items just to try to have the perfect items, but not actually think about what that slam does to their other items. So yeah, something to think about. What server are you on?
NA.
Oh, okay. I just said
Uh,
these two people in your
I don't
lobby.
know.
Maybe they're queued together or something like that.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, there's a lot of Chinese lettered names in my server. I don't know why.
Hmm. Okay. Well,
Um,
yeah, you got Outplayed open, which I appreciate. So yeah, whichever VOD you think is the best one to hop into, we can hop in.
yeah,
Um,
I have 2 scrap and then this one I can't remember what it is. I mean, I'll just start with this. This was
yeah.
last night. And this
Okay.
is kind of the more dominant game that I feel confused about.
Okay.
Do you want me to play it on 1.5 times or
I usually just do
what do you want
2x
to do?
speed and then like
Okay.
pause during like augment selection and pause like I'll usually pause it sometimes during stage one when we're like figuring out what units to buy and just like what we're holding on to and stuff like that. Okay, a lot of different routes that you could go with this setup. You're gonna play the two Conqueror for now, which I think is fine. Hold on to
Alright.
Powder as well. Um, yeah, I
I
mean,
did. I did pick up because this is usually early game, especially when I'm not getting gold. I like to hold different units.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, because let's go back
'cause
and just look at last shop real quick, like right before the round ends, when you can see the units that you're offered here. Yeah, like here's perfect. And I think you got dropped. Wait, what did you get dropped from here? You got dropped just
I got dropped Rel, Vander, and Urgot.
oh yeah, just from the minions. I mean, like it drops. I think it's just a component here. I forget what it is. Just
Oh
like play
yeah,
it a little bit longer, yeah, and then just pause after we get this orb drop because like this is like where yeah, this is component here, so we get belt. Okay, so like I really like honing in on stage one because like the units that you hold impact your game plan a lot, and I usually just kind of like to try to build it out logically from what you're holding and like what you have. So like for example here, we have this kind of conqueror setup here. We have the Rel already, who links up with a lot of stuff that we have in shop here. Like she links up with the Morgana with Visionary. She links up with Irelia for Sentinel. I'd really like to hold both of those. Like you end up holding onto Maddie here, which I think your idea is probably like she's an AD item holder. We have like generically solid AD items. But yeah, I think I would rather lean just towards having units that synergize with my Rel here. The powder is like a maybe for family reroll, but like I'm not that excited to play it right now because we have zero violets, we have zero like Dravens at this point. So like here, I think like a difference in how I would play this out is I would want to hold on to Morgana Irelia here, just sell powder, hold Morg Irelia, and then like Urgot is like another option that maybe we have open if we end up hitting for it. Because yeah, it's just like there's a world where we get a drop, we get like a rod drop or something, and all of a sudden like AP makes a lot more sense for us, and then we want to play our board as just like Morgana Irelia, and then like maybe level for Darius and play Conquer. So yeah, just keeping as many options open as possible and just holding units that make the most sense with our units in the opener, I think is a big thing that a lot of people it's difficult to figure out exactly, especially with like the little time you have. But it's difficult, but I
yeah,
think it's really important.
gotcha.
So yeah, we end up holding the Maddie here, who maybe she can, but definitely like always holding something I think is important.
Yeah,
Okay, we end up getting like semi rewarded here on holding the Maddie. I would say like in a similar way. I don't actually like selling units before I see what I get dropped from Orb. So like for example here, like we sold the Urgot before seeing what we get dropped from Orb. Like if we get say like a Tristana from an Orb here or something like that, or maybe like a sword which allows us to make Starax, then it becomes a lot higher priority for us to want to hold on to that Urgot. So just like once again, just keeping your options open as long as possible. But yeah, you don't end up getting like mini or gold or anything like that. So like these are the units that we end up holding, which I think looks pretty good. Like we have the Maddie opener here. We also have like maybe Darius like Conqueror type opener as well. There's like those two solid routes that we could go down,
okay.
and
Yeah,
like our
that makes
items are
sense
good.
too because I've definitely felt where I get a unit off of an orb, and I'm like, dang, why did I sell
Yep,
that other unit?
exactly. And there's no harm, right? Like you just waiting to see what you get from the orb. Like there's no harm to doing that. It's just free information essentially.
Yeah,
All right, level up at what cost? Void Swarm. And you have that's like the meta TFT overlay, I think, that gives you like the tier of
yeah,
them, which like is it's like loosely correct. I don't like
yeah.
love it completely.
I don't
Um,
typically go based off of those anymore. I used to, but I stopped pretty
yeah,
heavily.
yeah, I think that's fair. But yeah, I mean, level up in your spot. I don't like really love it that much. Just don't like level up that much in general. I mean, at what cost tends to be better. Like I think at what cost strength is like inversely correlated to elo. Like if you're like challenger, at what cost I think kind of sucks, just because people are building better boards and it like locks you in a certain augments that doesn't feel good. But like if you're I mean anything below master tier, I think it's actually like very solid, just because like it's very easy to play out a game where you're all of a sudden like really high level and you can just play a lot of units, do a lot of damage to the lobby, and also just like
Mm,
coast to level 8. So I'd look at what cost here, and then Void Swarm I think is like okay, but like not amazing.
yeah.
It's good if you can make it to like late game. But yeah, okay. What are you I guess thinking when you see these augments in the spot?
Um, I don't like to level up too much personally either. And at what cost? I just don't like it because I mean, yeah, I skipped to level 6. I don't. I mean, I can figure out my pathing when I get there, but I also don't really like the not being able to pick my augments, especially if I'm going a specific build. It's just
Hmm.
I'm not. I don't think I'm flexible enough to like get a random augment that wouldn't go with what I have currently and then completely pivot again.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's
and
the
then ZZ Rod, I didn't pick it because when I look at that augment, I tend to think of something that ramps up. So like if I had Tristana reroll, I might to give her more time to get more stacks on like a Rage Blade or something, or Dominators.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of my, I don't know, my opinion on it. I don't ever
Yeah,
really take it.
I think that's pretty reasonable. Yeah, your spot, like, yeah, I do think it synergizes nicely with dominators and boards that just like the front line that it gives. And yeah, like you're probably not playing dominators from this spot. So yeah, I pretty much agree. But I do think like at what cost is like probably the best, even though these aren't amazing. Okay, and then you roll into Scrap Crown, Subservice, and Flurry of Blows. I don't really like Subscription Service that much. You already have the Trundle pair here, and I think we're still holding powder as well,
Powder.
right? So
Yeah.
so yeah, we have yeah, I mean Scrap Crown seems great here, and then it also gives us very clear direction. I would do a quick scout of the lobby just to see how contested you think Scrap's going to be. If you
I
see like,
did.
okay, perfect,
Yeah.
yeah, um, hard commit.
Hedge funds, shopping spree, and then I think they got an Akali, Zuri, and Camille
Okay,
exalted.
great. So yeah, then your odds of being contested are pretty low here. You get this board in. Yeah, I mean, I think ideally you kind of like ran out of time at the end, but ideally we'd honestly like level here. And then okay, let's go back and look at item slams here. Actually, so yeah, these are items. It's 5 components as well, which is well, I mean it's 3 components, and then we get the 2 from scrap thingy. But you know, just
Mhm.
having a decent amount of component opener is pretty nice when you have scrap, like just so that you're getting that value faster. As far as slams in this spot, so you end up making, I think you make Gargoyle Sunfire here. I like the
Yeah.
Sunfire slam. I think the Sunfire item is just kind of broken in general. Like I think most chances that you get it are solid.
Mm.
But I don't think I would slam everything else that you slam just because we're like we would like to get like scrap value in this spot, you know? Like we
Right.
like I would just make Sunfire here and then scrap the other 3 components like Glove Zigs, probably like chain onto the I guess you can like cloak the trundle and then put the scrap emblem here and then leave chain on the stab and like feel pretty good about it because like we end up doing this, which now we're just scrapping 1 component at this point after we slam the Sunfire, which feels like pretty bad when we're gonna, I think, play for 4 scrap in the early to mid game.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. I guess that's why this is like is important because like I mean that's 3 full items compared
Yep.
to you know
I
2.
mean, yeah, too. Yeah. So yeah,
Um,
and
and
then yeah,
unfortunately too, I think it was a little bit of a diff. If I would have had the items on before, I might have won.
yeah, yeah. No, it's oh, gosh, this fight's so close. Actually, yeah. I mean, it's tragic, but that's life. And we hit the trundle too. I mean, our opener is fantastic at this point. You lost the last fight, and so you're kind of thinking about.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, do I level and just play for the 4? And I was like, well, maybe I should just because everybody's got a prismatic.
Mhm.
So everybody's seemingly strong. Maybe I just go for lost streak.
I mean, I think your board is certainly strong enough with double slam, and especially once we get to 4 scrap to win streak. I don't mind not leveling this round because you still get to make 10 gold here, and there's a decent chance, depending on who you fight, that you'll win this fight anyway. Like this fight's actually pretty close, like very close. We end up losing it, but like after losing the first fight, I don't mind that much. But yeah, I mean, I do think you should play around 4 scrap right here, and then at least we'll get something. In my opinion, like we'll get something off carousel here, and then the ideal is that we would just like scrap another component, and then we'll at least be 2 component scrap. So not the end of the world. But yeah, I mean this board is quite strong. I think you're gonna be stronger than the majority of the lobby. Like I think had we leveled to 4 immediately and scrapped 3 components, we would have definitely won the first fight and we would have won the second fight as well. Like you could probably play for 5 streak this game. We lost the first one, so we'll probably end up being like 3 streak here, but not the end of the world. Glove open, and I mean, there's 2 swords on carousel. 3 cost sword would be great. I'm gonna just pick up the sword here. Yep, I think this is good. And then I would just scrap it onto the powder for now. And
I
actually,
guess.
honestly, trundle is fine. You probably do trundle actually. But yeah, you can.
So
Uh huh.
I messed up completely.
Oh, if
So
I
I
mean,
guess this is I held on to it because I was like, I don't want to slam it, and I don't know why it was late last night. I think it was like 3 a.m. But
mhm.
um, I just didn't put it on anybody, which is dumb. Now that I'm watching it back.
Yeah, like the reason to not put it on is if you're afraid that like it's gonna be hard to kind of like get it off trundle later. But like in especially like this set, where they just give you a million reforger or removers for free. Like you're gonna have no trouble getting this sword off of Trundle later. Like you want Trundle on your board later. And when you get to like Corki later, you're going to want to move it off so you can actually make items onto Corki. But like, yeah, it's just going to be very easy for you to move this. And like, if you want to make something like an IE, like imagine you get a bunch of components on Krugs, like the best place to put that IE is probably going to be Trundle, just
Yeah.
because like you don't really have anyone who's a good 80 item holder. He's 2-star. Like you can play around him very well. I'd also probably pre-level here. Just put the 4 gold into XP in the spot. You don't
Okay.
lose like you're not losing any econ doing it because you're just going from 35 down to 31. You get to level 5 earlier, which gives you chances of high rolling stuff like Corki and Echo and stuff. And yeah, it's like no
Right.
harm. You still get to make gold there. You might lose 1 interest on Krugs. Like if you make 50 here, maybe you wouldn't have made 50, but I would certainly pay 1 gold for like 2 earlier level 5 shops. That could maybe give me odds of picking up Corki or something else.
Right. Yeah. I definitely should have done that.
Yeah. Okay. But
Right
yeah, we
there.
do end up making 50 here. So yeah, we get the 1 gold. Actually, we could still like I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mind holding the Swain actually, but yeah, but I think it would have been fine to
I think
level.
I sell it just because I don't have a reason for it. Like I didn't have anything that really went well with the synergies of anything. Like I could have taken the Vlad, but it really wouldn't have done a whole lot. So I
Hmm.
just took the Triss just for the emissary bonus.
Yeah. Okay. And make IE plus Slam Belt here. I mean, I think generally this is solid. It's like right now we're kind of paying for the fact that we slammed all our items earlier, so it's hard to get full scrap value here. But I mean, 2 items, not the end of the world. I would like to hold the Swain just in case we do end up picking up whatchamacallit, GP,
Gang.
and then we can play with him. Yeah. Okay. I mean, item collector is pretty. It's okay in this comp. It's actually not as good. Like it doesn't count the items when they scrap, I believe, which is kind of sad. But you are up an item in the scrap emblem, and you're up 2 components that you got from scrap. So I think item collector is fine, and I think your other 2 options are like not that great. I mean,
I
lineup's actually not a bad. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. I don't. I don't take backup usually. I mean,
Hmm.
unless it's like a really heavy backline, um, like maybe Sork,
Hmm.
and then the middle one. I don't think I've ever taken this, to be
I mean,
honest.
actually, looking at it more, I think I like lineup the most. I mean, item collector one, like I said, it doesn't have great synergy with scrap. But lineup one, it's like one thing that I think is really, really important to understand in TFT is just like the multiplicativity. I think that's the word.
Mm.
Of like stats, where like if you have a ton of armor and magic resist, then HP is really really good because each point of HP. Imagine like you have a gargoyle on like a big tank, and then you build the warmugs on them. Each point of that HP goes further because it's being multiplied by that armor, like all of that armor and magic resist. And so like scrap is a comp where you kind of have a lot of artificial like kind of like fake HP in all of the shields. And so line up like in a similar way. Anything that's giving you a lot of armor and MR is actually really really nice on those shields because it's going to make those shields go further essentially. And so lineup scales nicely with the HP from scrap. And you can also do the thing, I don't know if you've seen people who play scrap do this, but they'll put Corky like second row, sometimes even front row, because when he ults, he just dashes back. He'll dash back to the back line anyway. So you can actually put him second row. Maybe he gets a little bit of value out of his scrap shield, but he's gonna end up backing up anyway, so it's gonna be fine. And so like lineup, you could probably put like your entire board in the front 2 rows, and then that's a sizable. I mean, 8 units at 2.5. That's 20 armor and MR. Like that's actually like a
Yeah.
sizable amount of armor and MR um, on your basically your entire board with the scrap shield. So I actually like line up a lot. But it's just like the idea is thinking about. I think it's probably just one that you're like you said you're not really comfortable taking this augment, but I think the big concept there is just understanding like how stats multiply to each other, and at the end of the day, you really, really, really just want to multiply as many stats onto each other as possible. Same idea as like a bunch of attack speed with a bunch of like AD and like crit multiplies as well, and like percent damage increase multiplies as well. So like all of those, just getting as many multipliers on each other as possible.
Hmm, that's interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know that scrap tech of putting it all in the front.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you'll usually see people you take Pandora's here. Eh. I don't love. I mean, I think like when I'm in a spot like yours, I actually tend to devalue Pandora's because like we already have 3 items slammed. Like we're pretty happy with our items in my opinion. So I don't like feel a need to take Pandora's here to fix my items later because like I think there's a good chance this game if you just let your items like flow naturally that you'll have good enough items. I think maybe this is part of what you were talking about like really, really, really wanting to have like BIS items on all your units, have like perfect items on everybody. So then you want to take this to like guarantee that you can get to perfect items. But I'd rather just have the strength of like even like a mentorship here, but like I was talking about the other one earlier, line up or whatever it's called.
Lineup, yeah. Okay, yeah, I took this for the extra component. That's what my mind was at.
Yeah.
I just figured going for the shield being bigger, might as well. But
Yeah,
I
no,
guess if you
the
take
components like
mentorship, you probably get more value.
yeah, it's just like the component's not like getting a component is good, but like if our silver augment is just a component, like you compare that to a lot of other augments, and it's just not really worth a silver augment. And like maybe we'll use the Pandora's effect later, but yeah, like if we're taking a silver augment just to be a component, like that feels pretty bad, I would say.
Gotcha.
Okay, we take this. I mean, the upside is we do now get to scrap this last component. We have the GP that we can just level for. I would just put the sword onto GP here. As far as your board, I don't think you really have anything better to play. You could cut powder for something. I don't think there's anything you really want to cut powder for. But yeah, in the same way, I would just slam the sword onto to GP here for the scrap value. It's gonna make your board a good bit stronger here. This guy you really want to be spread out versus this.
Yeah, I was on the Discord with my friend, and I said that you'll see me move GP. I was like, well, if I put the GP back here, like in between the Trist and the powder, I probably would have won that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just versus that guy versus the powder. Like powder is a bad like really something like this. And you could even like full spread your back line, like move GP1 to the right and then move Trist1 to the right and just be like full spread out. Like it'd be really, really hard for the powder to play the fight there. But yeah, I do think like similarly, like we hold on to this sword and we're just like Pandorazing it here. Like I would feel fine once again by just like slamming that onto GP like the sword earlier and just holding that for just some kind of sword item onto Corky. I think it's totally fine. All right, carousel here. We have 2 bows open at this point. I mean, we have Pandora, so we don't really care that much about what we take. You take Beltier for like Warmogs. Maybe we'll see. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty solid. It's just once again, like you're in this kind of awkward spot where like you don't really want to actually put the Warmogs down for now. All right, you level
Oh,
here.
yeah, I leveled after Carousel.
Yeah. I like for sure leveling after carousel. You start to roll. I don't really know that we actually need to roll in this spot. Our board's like pretty strong already just with the 2 stars. Yeah, like our board's not bad. So I don't actually feel a need to really roll here. I think we can just chill for a couple of rounds and then make it to level 8 and be really strong. But I mean, we end up playing we end up hitting a Loris 2 like in like it was like Loris in 3 shops.
Yeah.
And I mean that does make our board a lot better. So I mean, I don't think you can be that upset about it. But I think on average, you do actually like get a little bit, like you waste a decent amount of econ rolling there. Like if you don't hit Loris 2, then you just rolled a good bit, and like your odds of actually hitting something are pretty low compared to just being able to push 8, very soon.
Right. You think leveling there in general was a good idea?
Yeah, I think in general there, like usually when I can level after stage 3 carousel and make 30 gold, I almost always do it. And I think I think before rolling you might have made 40 or 50.
Yeah, I
I
had
think 40.
40.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine leveling in that spot because like you don't really lose almost anything for doing that.
So what's the idea of the 30? Like,
Oh,
what's the idea behind it?
yeah, but like why you would level there if you can still make 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, the general idea is just I mean, there's not like a specific reason why like 30, it's not like 30 is that different from like I guess 20 gold. The main idea is just like at 30 you're only sacking like 2 gold of interest, so it's not like that much if you think about it that way. And like, you're probably depending on what you like what your streak is, you can get up to 40 the next round. And like what else you have on bench and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just like there's not actually a specific reason like why 30 specifically. It's mostly just like 30 is enough gold, I would say, usually there that you won't like you don't feel like you're in a really like bad spot, I would say.
Gotcha. So
Um
this guy that I just fought, by the way,
mhm,
took hedge fund and open boarded, and then
mhm.
ended up rolling down and getting Corky and Rumble.
I see. Yeah, that is pretty
So then I,
unfortunate. They only have
yeah, I
one
ended up
Corki right
losing.
now, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder I mean, pair of four is a little bit awkward in this comp. You could probably make it work though, and just play like Quirky Echo, and then you just have to like not end up playing stuff like Elise or like Vi or anything that, which is like a little bit annoying. But I think you
Mm,
could like worst case take pair of fours here because I don't think your other options are very good. Heavily smash or not
yeah.
today. Like I would reroll those before I roll pair of fours here. Also,
Gotcha.
we didn't really talk about it, but like you slammed a bunch more items. At this point in the game, I actually like really don't want to slam because like how many open components do we have right now? Two or three? Um it's just like if we're gonna be playing six scrap soon, yeah, we could go back a tiny bit and see. But like if we're gonna play six scrap, like ideally like this round, I think we have two components open now. Um
Uh, yeah.
yeah.
One.
Well and then the one on bench, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think if we're gonna play for six scrap, you really want to. I mean, ideally have six components open so that you're getting six full items from scrap. And so like at this point, like I think slamming LW is fine, but I would keep. I'd probably be four components open here. I actually really like. I don't know if you've seen people do this, but a lot of people now are putting belt onto Corky as his scrap component because that's always going to roll guard breaker. And so if you're like
Yeah.
IE Last Whisper guard breaker, that's like really really nice. So something to consider. Like we could have instead of making this guard breaker, just left belt on Corky, and then you still get the guard breaker, but then you can put glove on say like GP and then get an item onto GP. You know?
Yeah, you know what's funny is I literally watched a video the other day that you said that,
Oh,
and I was telling my friend too at the same time. So
hmm
I think it was just the late
yeah,
night hitting
yeah,
me.
yeah. It happens. It happens.
Um, so yeah, I rerolled pair of fours. The reason being was like usually when I play scrap, I end up pretty much going for form swapper in any form,
hmm
and then needing echo for the scrap. Like I was like, okay, well I don't know if I can make that. And it goes back to what I was saying before, not really knowing if I'm flexible enough to pivot around, like alter my end game board enough to make it fit. So I ended up just burning that one, and I burnt those two.
So what are you thinking when you because like I mean these options don't look amazing to me. What are you thinking
No,
when you
they
see these
don't.
options?
I mean, Tomb Raider. I could have picked this because I am third. I mean, there's three people that are pretty low, so the odds of them going out fairly high. I honestly, I probably should have picked that for the value of it. To make my tank line stronger later.
hmm
Because I took bronze for life. I mean, I like the damage amp for sure. Um, but I don't know. This is a really weird spot. I really don't like long distance pals.
Yeah.
I tend to never take that. It just makes your board so awkward. And then sometimes, like if I back left my Corky, then I have to front right either my Echo or my Rumble,
hmm
or I guess maybe my Elise. But then I just feel like I'm losing value just letting somebody die super quick that's fully itemized.
Yeah.
And
You
then
can
opposite, I mean,
mhm. If you tried it, you can basically like have your units on the front line and then put like if you're trying to long distance pals a frontliner, you can put somebody second row far like right side and then put like a tank above them into the left. I can pull it up in the like team builder if you want, but it's like yeah, you basically like put them second row all the way to the right and then just don't put a tank like more to the right of them, and then they will still get it. It's like it's still awkward
gotcha.
though. I don't love LDP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in your spot, I hate this Tomb Raider augment. I think it's absolutely horrible. I think this
Yeah.
actually might be the one spot where it's takeable though, because like there's a guy in the lobby who's 18 HP. I think he might have gone AFK. So that guy is like going to die almost certainly, and then there's two other people who are 30 HP. I guess you could scout them and like make sure that they're not like Chem Baron players, but I don't think they were. Like I think they're just people
Mhm.
playing who played a week early game. So
Yeah.
and Scrap is the one comp where like the items from Tomb Raider are even more valuable because you're getting scrap value, you know, for all the items that you get. So I think, and also like Bronze for Life is just not that good in this spot because I mean you're just not gonna have that many traits in when you get to 6 scrap. Eventually when you get to 9, you'll have an okay amount, but like yeah, you're just not going to get much Bronze for Life value here. And I do think, I mean, you took scrap +1. You kind of have to play a scrap game. So
Yeah.
like yeah, I don't think you can get great value out of it. So yeah, I think this might be the one spot where you can take Tomb Raider, but it's yeah, it's not I don't know, it's not very
So
normal. Hmm.
this is a big thing.
Okay.
If you're in the spot and you have 65 gold and you get a Corki, you could have 6 scrap out. Do you force level down to 20 gold and then put in 6 scrap, or you just remove the items, switch them out, and then wait?
So I would level here and play 6 scrap and probably just not roll because you're not that rich in this spot because we didn't like we don't have an econ augment. We didn't like super win streak or super lose streak early. So like you're not very rich in this spot. You don't really have the gold to like really happily level to 8 and like roll it down. But 6 scrap is like a huge just increase in board strength for you. So yeah, I would just level, put in Corky plus powder here, move the items over to Corky, and then just like play 6 scrap and be pretty happy with my spot here. And then just you probably sit for 2 rounds and then you roll after carousel to try to find stuff like Corky 2 and like Echo and stuff. Yeah, I think yeah, you're
I
um
was debating so
yeah,
hard, and I
you
was like,
were
you know what? I'm just gonna remove them and just keep them.
yeah. But yeah, like I think because like you don't lose that much. Like you drop down to 20 gold, but you're still getting 2 gold of interest per round. And you just get such a spike in board strength. Like, you know, if it will just straight up win you some fights. You actually get pretty fortunate here in that we fight somebody who's not that strong. So then we end up winning that fight. And now after that fight, why did we slap? Wait, we're scrapping 0 components with scrap. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm
Yeah,
so sad.
yeah, it's a bad, it's a
Yeah.
bad. You know, I for some reason in my head,
Mm-hmm.
I thought like the shield you get from all components together, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's I guess where my brain was at for some reason. Like it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
to
but
have
it
anything
counts
scrap.
yeah, it counts the ones that you get from
Yeah.
scrapping. So like, you know, one component turns into 2 components if you're scrapping it. So, okay, we go into carousel here. There is a Corky on carousel, which would be pretty cool to pick up. And like, we don't care that much about even what component it is. Um, just scouting the whole lobby. Okay, we don't get the Corky. Take giant spell here. I think it's pretty reasonable for the scrap giant spell thing. I would definitely level here and play 6 scrap. And then you can do a scout of the lobby. Um, like it's almost always correct to roll in this spot. But I would want to see just how contested the units I'm rolling for are, just to get a sense for it. But like you are going to have to roll here. Like it's gonna be really tough for your board to just make it to 9 on Corky 1, and then like our front line is like pretty mediocre. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely roll. Yeah, just probably roll more here. But it would be good to scout the lobby and see.
I
Um,
took here, hold on.
yeah, let's go. Let's pause on the. So need power absorption, 30% AD each time an ally dies, gain 9% of their AD. I mean, I don't think this one's that bad. I don't think it's like amazing in your spot. But if you just want to take something like you'd have to math it out and see what the numbers say, but you end up taking the one that gives you like 55% more AD or
5%,
something
yeah.
like that. And I'm not actually sure like how much like which one is actually that much like more here because like
Mhm.
you know the increased AD one you really want it on stuff where you're like already gaining a bunch of AD and like you're getting a little bit from artillerist here but that's about it and then from your items but
Mhm.
like you're really not getting you're getting 10% off artillerist and then you're getting your the AD off of IE and guard breaker which is let me see IE is 35, so you're getting 45 AD from Artillerist plus that, and then Guardbreaker is does it even give AD any? No, this doesn't give any AD. So yeah, and then LW doesn't, right? LW gives 15. So 45, you're getting 60 you have 60 like AD from outside sources, and so if you're getting, yeah, I mean, if you think about it that way, you're getting 60 AD from outside sources. I don't think I missed anything. And the other one gives you 55% of that, so you're getting a little bit more than 30. But like power absorption, same thing. Like you get that 30. And then you're also getting 9% of every time your ally dies AD. And every unit has like a little bit of AD. Your frontliners don't have a ton, but like you're still getting some from them.
Yeah,
So
that makes
yeah,
sense.
I think this one's actually like good enough, especially in your spot where you're like decently happy with it. But yeah, I think maybe it's just like, I mean, it's like a hard thing to like math it out and know exactly what it is. But yeah, I don't think you're not getting AD from, yeah. So it would just be that.
Mm.
So yeah, but yeah, I
You don't
think,
think I mean, kill streak definitely is not even in.
yeah, no, I don't think that one's great on Corky. So yeah, like attack expert. I mean, I think it's actually a little bit worse than the other one that we passed up. Either way, I don't think it's like the end of the world. Like if the first one I'd gotten was attack expert, I could see playing around that. But yeah, okay. Um, I would like if we're going to okay, and then you're rolling a good bit. I mean, Alawi's not actually stronger yet. Um, I do think if you're going to scrap the Elise, I would put the tank items on the Elise. Just because like I want these tank items kind of similar to like the multiplicative type thing. Like I want this Sunfire to live as long as possible. I want this Gargoyle to get as much value out of it as possible. And Elise is getting a big scrap shield here and then not really doing much with it because she has no resists to scale it up. So like in a similar way, I think you should just like play for like the tank items onto whoever is scrap in this comp. And like Savika, if you scrap emblem her, like maybe we could do that. Or if you end up getting I don't know, some like AD bruiser type items, you can end up putting them on her. But like it feels awkward to split the tank items from the unit with the scrap emblem.
Right.
Okay. But yeah,
Yeah, and that
we're
last fight was unfortunate. He's got 2-star Jinx, 2-star
yeah.
Rumble,
Yeah,
Civica, Vi.
that guy kind of hit. But yeah, we're in an awkward spot here where like this is a common thing as well. Like you're going to try to push 9 this game. It's like pretty sketchy to go 9 here though, because you're Corky 1. You don't even have Corky pair at this point. You're at least 1. Like your board is really, really rough here. Like I think we should have, like I think I said that earlier, but like we should have rolled like deeper stage 4. Because like, yeah, this board is just not really, like you're going to make it to 9 here. But the problem is just you are not going to have enough gold. I think this is something like a trap that a lot of people fall into, where like let's just go back to the start of the round actually when you go 9. Just like right before you start rolling, and we can look at just the amount of gold that you actually go 9 with. So like right here, just play it a little bit like when you pump up all the XP. And I just want to see like what actual gold count we were at. Yeah, okay, so 29 gold here. You don't actually have any units that you want to like actively sell here. So like 29 gold is how much gold you have here. The actual amount of gold that you would be like happy with in this spot is probably like 60 to 70 gold. Like I would feel happy going 9 here if I had 60 to 70 gold, because I mean, think about it. We need 2 more Corkies, so that's 8 gold. We need 2 more Elises, so that's another 8 gold, so that's 16. We need to probably find a Rumble, so that's 5 gold to 21. We want to find like an Echo 2, that's another 12 gold, so that's like 33. And then like if you found all that, I think you'd be like pretty happy. But that's 33
Yeah.
gold of units that we need. And that's obviously not taking into account any of the rolling. Like you probably need to roll 20 to 30 gold to find that 33 gold of units. So that's where I'm saying like 60 to 70 gold, I think is what you need to actually be like happy in this spot here, and you just don't have it. Like your odds of actually rolling down and missing Corky 2 are decently high here, because you need 8 gold for 2 Corkies, so then you have 10 rolls to find Corky 2, which is just it could happen, but it could also like definitely not happen. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
just
that makes
when
sense.
like it's a lot easier to like in a different world, like imagine your Corky 2 here and your Echo 2 here, then like going 9 with 30 gold is actually pretty acceptable, because like you don't need to find all those units on 9. That's why like it's a lot easier to like build a board on 8 and then take that board to 9. But you like kind of skipped 8 this game, like we didn't roll much on 8. And so now we're trying to build a board on 9, and you just need way, way, way more gold to do that, because yeah, like I said, all these 2 stars. I mean, you'd even want to find like GP2, which is another 3 gold here. And so yeah.
Yeah, I think what happened too is I got really frustrated the fact that all these other guys, like I think there's 3 people playing Rumble. One
Hmm.
of them has 2-star. I just
Hmm.
felt like I was so behind in the lobby, like I almost needed to try to catch up going 9 and getting like an extra unit on the board.
Hmm.
But I guess it's a misinformation in my mind, thinking that going 9 and playing one more unit is more powerful than just getting 2 stars, which it's not.
Right. Yeah. Because, like, what do you end up adding here? I think you add the Alawi to this board, which we don't even have
I
Rumble yet, so it's not even Sentinel. So,
Yeah,
like, this Alawi on this board, she's not really doing anything. Like, she's actually
yeah,
just like HP on this board that doesn't do anything. Whereas, if we had more gold here and instead, we had like an Elise 2, like, I would 1,000,000% trade this Alawi for like an Elise 2 and and like an Echo 2 here. But like, we spent the gold to level and like, it gives you odds of finding other stuff. But yeah, it feels really bad trying to build that board on 9 because now it's gonna be like really, really tough. Also, we don't I would just hold that Elise there. I mean, she's like probably the best front line that we can find here. Um Also, I didn't bring it up, but we have two components that have just been
yeah.
sitting on bench that we're Pandorazing. It's pretty
I know.
illegal considering that we're playing scrap. Like
I'm
we're
biting my
down
nails
two.
watching myself.
Yeah, we're down two full items here, and then like we finally make stuff, but like I would still be fine not making items, right? Like I said, my
Yeah,
goal when I'm playing scrap is to be scrapping like 6 components or at least like 4 components, and right now we are going to be scrapping one at this point, which is just yeah, it's not ideal. Like the scrapped item, especially with 6 scrap, it gives you like the lucky items. It gives you items tailored to what units you have in. So or like yeah, like Corky will get damage items and Echo will get healing items or AP items and stuff like that. So like you still yeah, I think you save this here with the idea that okay, like I like how we move items here generally. You probably do just have to JG the Echo, so then you're just rotting somebody random, which is fine. And you rod the like the I mean, yeah, the Elise is solid. Yeah, I like this. Oh, we hit a Victor. Oh, we're 12 HP.
yeah,
Oh, it's so tragic.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was not. Yeah, and I'm holding an Mbessa because this guy's literally 2 off Mbessa, and I mean, it didn't really matter to me regardless. But
Yeah, I mean it's good to do that, and I like that you're doing that. But I think like a first priority should be getting our own board in order before we deny other people.
yeah,
But yeah,
that
I mean
makes total sense.
I think the big things that game were just playing more around scrap, like making sure that you are scrapping as many components as possible and like actively like during stage 4 actively like not slamming items and allowing using that to scrap a ton of items when we hit 6 scrap.
Mhm.
And then also just yeah that like level 8 like trying to skip 8 and go 9 really really cost us when we just didn't really have the setup to like I mean you actually hit Corky 2 on the roll down, which I would say is a bit high roll in your spot. Like on
Yeah.
average you don't hit that Corky and then like your board is just horrible in that spot. Like you're actually pretty happy that you found that Corky because if you hadn't you probably would have gone like 6th or something instead of 5th. So
So
yeah.
if I rolled on 8,
Hmm.
would I have? What would your in that spot not having any of my 2 stars? Would I just go down to 0 or go until I find something? Or do I stop at a specific like go down to 20 or 30
Yeah, so I
trying
think
to hit?
in your spot, like at the point where I was saying roll, which is I think 4 5 after stage 4 carousel, you were zero. You were one Corky. You didn't have that many other units. Like at that point, you just need to start digging to try to find things. And then like once you roll down to like 40 or 30 gold, then you kind of just let the number of pairs that you have influence how much you continue to roll. So like for example, if I roll it down to 30 gold and I just completely hit nothing, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit at 30 for like a round or two just to kind of like get my econ back up, like make it so that I actually have enough gold to hit. Especially because you're pretty healthy in your spot. It's not like you were like about to die. But like conversely, like if I roll into 30 gold and I'm 2 Corkies, 2 Echoes, I'm gonna roll it down a lot in that spot because any single Corki or Echo I hit there is like a huge, huge upgrade on my board. You also were Gangplank paired the entire time, so like hitting a Gangplank 2 even would be nice. Is like a unit that can hold like Gangplank 2 is gonna be better than the Corki one that we have. So like had we even hit Gangplank 2, we could have used him as like an item holder and allowed that to carry us a little bit longer. So yeah, it's really there's no like hard rule of like always roll down to 30 gold here, always roll down to 20 gold here. But I would say like in your spot, because we didn't have 2-star 4 cost, we didn't even have a 2-star 3 cost as our carry, I would try to at least roll down for Gangplank 2, and then like if we find extra Corkies or Echoes on the way, then you can think about actually rolling like even deeper there and dipping down to like 20, 10 gold or whatever. Like if you end up rolling it to 0 there, but you pick up Corky 2, Echo 2, Gangplank 2, maybe find 1 Rumble, like, or even not because you have the scrap +1, so it's like pretty chill. Like you can top 4 that game pretty easily by just winning fights with a strong 6 scrap board. Like you don't
Mm,
need to necessarily like push 9 and cap out insanely high to you probably won't win the lobby, but I mean, you'll do better than 5th. You'll go like top 4 or top 3 or something.
right. That makes sense. What do you want to do with? Do you want me to play this
Yeah, we
for
could we
as
could do
long?
this one quick if you
Okay.
and we can just kind of like skip through some stuff.
Yeah.
Or if you have like more specific questions about that game, I'm happy like we can talk through other stuff there. But yeah.
Most of my questions on that one were definitely answered,
Okay.
especially like the rolling at times, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is a component. I got a GP.
Yep, we got GP, we got Darius pair. Yeah, okay. We actually hit pretty decent opener here. Like we can play around, yeah, this kind of stuff. I mean, I think this is fine. You have solid AD slams, which I mean, I wouldn't mind just slamming AD items onto Draven. And I mean, once again, we could probably play into scrap this game. We could probably play into like Twitch or something this game as well. Tier makes it a little awkward, but still fine. I mean, honestly,
Uh, I'm Baron, Spirit Link, Runins. I didn't have anything Chem Baron, so I just wasn't even gonna aim for it.
yep, I agree.
I get this almost every game I play, which is starting to be annoying. This
Yeah.
and powered shields, like I swear I have like a 95% chance of getting them.
hmm
It's so sad.
Oh,
Uh,
honestly, all that shimmers in this spot. Looks very tempting. I would definitely look at taking that here. You have okay, great. Like this
so I took
here.
Gold Collector.
Yeah, so it's been in Gold Collectors and Gambler's Blade. I think Gold Collector's solid in your spot. Both are really quite good. But yeah, I think either one. I'd probably level for like the Vander that we had instead of this though. Okay, then you're gonna make Winsus here, and the idea is just we're gonna play for Twitch. I mean, I'm down. I think that makes a lot of sense. And it's got to be Giant Spell tier. Yeah, we need a tank item here. It's either Even Shroud or Redemption. I think Even Shroud's good enough as an early slam. So I'm down for that. The tier being open is like a little awkward, but I think that's good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think you should be looking for yeah, like we should have just held a Watcher there. Because like 3 Pit Fighter, it's like whatever. Like getting the yeah, but you rather frontline, especially when you have a 2-star Darius here. But like we should still hold on to like I think you end up selling that Urgot there, but like, there's a world where maybe we high roll something and we end up with like 4 Pit Fighter. So I would hold on to it. But yeah, I mean this opener looks great. I like Collector here a lot. Yeah, I mean your spell looks
I
very
think if I didn't have GP and I had Draven, I probably would have went Gambler's Blade.
Mhm.
Is that a better decision?
I think you probably still go Collector just because like I don't know. Gambler's Blade Gwinsu on Draven is really, really good. The only downside is that like it's like Gambler's Blade later is not really going to be that much of an item, whereas Collector late game like will be basically like a full item onto someone like Twitch. Uh,
Yeah.
we level here and lose. You got to be pretty careful if
Yep.
you're going to do this double level thing. Because like level and lose, we are so poor now compared to like a normal game. So like if you're going to do that early double level there, what you should do is just scout your opponents and just see like, okay, like how likely do I think it is that I'm going to win this fight if I level? And like, if you do think it's reasonable that you're going to level and then still end up losing, then you should like never do that because like now we're 8 gold here. Like we have to sell Rel pair if we want to make 10, which feels, I mean, I guess maybe we'll farm some gold here and it'll be okay. But yeah, like we really, really want to, yeah, we'd rather just, not have done that. I also, I'd rather play Vlad on this board over Sentinel, like Watcher, just because like kind of in a similar way, like talking about stuff scaling, like you also oftentimes want to make your strongest unit even stronger with things like traits. And so like, Darius 2 has a lot more HP than, the like this Leona too, and so I'd much rather have a trait in for the Darius and just Watcher than this, which is like we're kind of buffing up Leona and Rel, and like Sentinel hits the entire board, but yeah, like Watcher is the trait that I'd be most excited to fit in on this board, and instead we're fitting in Sentinel, which is like just not as good in this spot. But yeah, I mean overall, this early game, I mean, we don't like 5 streak or anything, but the early game was pretty well. We farm a lot of gold from Collector. Can we get that last cast would have been so good. But I mean, still 20 gold. I mean, honestly, 3 loss streak, not bad. I mean, Echo. I mean, these items definitely do perform better on Twitch. It's like not the end of the world if you ended up playing another quirky game from here though. Like Quince is not amazing on him. Collector's like okay on him, but like you could think about it if you get like a good spot for it. Like I would consider holding on to this Echo and like Powder here and keeping it, especially because it's like basically free to hold on to them. Like you don't need that other stuff. And like we end up getting these AP items that go pretty well for Echo. Make Sunfire here. I think that's reasonable. The only thing is it leaves us with really awkward components.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think it's fine. Like it's your strongest slam in this spot, and it's a really good item. But yeah, it does actually make hurt. But like we can figure out a tier and a rod. These can be like frontline items or even like something else. But yeah, like I think in this case it's acceptable. But this tends to be a mistake that people make. But I think here it's actually like okay. All right. I mean, I'm not trying to take Golemify here. Little buddies, I don't think is actually even that great in this comp with the board that you usually are playing, just because you're playing like Urgot and like I mean it depends on what we're playing, like what version of like I think I don't know. My assumption is that we play Twitch this game, or that's what I would want to play this game. And like Little Buddies is not that good for that. Just like Noble Sacrifice, I think is fine. I don't know. What are you thinking about these?
Well, definitely not Glemify. I could not stand that.
Mhm.
Unless I'm going like the only time I'll take this is if I have 4 Bruiser
Mhm.
up front and like a 2-star. I
Yep.
might think about it, especially if I have no direction and I have general items like Gold Collector, Rage Blade, and then Even Shroud and Sunfire. I might take that just because I don't have a specific direction as far as items go. But I don't have it really in here. And then Noble, whatever that was, I don't usually tend to take that one either. I've taken it a few times and it didn't really help, or at least I just didn't feel it help as much as some other augments that I get. Little buddies, I take this. I don't know my end board, so I'm not too sure. I honestly don't even remember what I aim for. Usually I put it in the title. Okay, well, there's that.
Yeah, I just think it's too hard. Like, yeah, I like Noble Sack in your spot, and because yeah, like the order that you roll is kind of weird in as well. Like we should 1,000,000% reroll the dummy one first. Like we're never gonna take that one, you know?
Right. So
Because yeah, we end up like rolling into like, or yeah, you end up taking this one, and like your thought is like a pit fighter, vertical pit fighter type board. I think this is something that a lot of TFT players do as well. Also, we should have. I mean, yeah, we should have leveled there, but it's okay. I think like I don't know. A lot of TFT players tend to fall in the category of like overcooking, like trying to like in the spot, like, make up what comp they're going to play and like figure it out. I think like in general, if you just like every game of TFT that you play, probably Sword here. Yeah, I think this is good. It's so awkward to leave the tier and the rod open, but we can figure it out. And like getting the IE is too important. But yeah, like if I would say like if every game of TFT you play a comp that's on like a tier list. I don't know, do you use like TFT Academy or anything like that?
I did before. Now I just go based off of meta TFT and
Yeah,
I
meta
just
TFT
kind of
works as well.
look at general builds.
But I would
Just
say
kind of go
like
off that.
if every game you play a comp that's on like meta TFT or TFT Academy, like you will do pretty solid. Like I think this game, one, you kind of overcook and you're like, oh, I'm gonna play around this, and then like also you run into this thing here where I think you're rerolling. You're trying to roll down for Trist Urgot, and then you scout this guy and you realize that this guy is playing like kind of Trist Urgot. They're playing like a weird version of it, but they're playing Trist Urgot, and so now you're in like a super awkward spot. One, like you kind of put yourself in this spot by the fact that we like rolled our augments in kind of a weird order, and two, like if you're going to lock yourself into this line, like you just need to do a scout of the lobby beforehand and like see like what everyone else is playing, because like we're not fully locked into this line. Like now we kind of have to probably make like a bad pivot into like playing around Violet or Vi, but like that's not gonna be the easiest thing to do. So
Right.
yeah, it's just gonna be really tough. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this because we didn't scout before we took this. Now we're just in a really awkward spot, and also, yeah, like I don't think it was even the best in your spot because like Trist Urgot, like you kind of like your items are great for Trist Urgot, but you really want to have that early Trist and let her like start stacking. Like we haven't done that this game, so it's just way harder for her to have um those um those like AD stacks. Like I don't know, maybe we could hold on to like this kind of stuff and play like an emissary game. That might be our best. It's probably our best bet here. Not amazing though.
I think I was like aiming for like actually going for form swapper because I
Mm-hmm.
figured I could put the items on Sevica
Mm-hmm.
at endgame and that would actually be viable.
Mm-hmm.
And then also if I can figure out a way to make another one, I could put it on Vi.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where my head was at. Oh, there's powered shields.
True. Yeah, your favorite augment. Yeah, my only problem with like that kind of game plan in general and game plans like that in general is I really don't like relying on hitting specific 5 costs, especially if you're thinking about playing like 4 form swapper, like you need to find Jace and you're talking about finding Savika as well. Like it's really you just can't guarantee that you're going to hit those units. And so what's much more likely to happen is just you're not going to hit a Savika or like a Jason roll down, and then you just have like no one to hold these items. I always want to play with just the expectation of being able to play around like a 4 cost carry, and then if I hit a 5 cost, great, I can fit it in. But the only time when you
Makes
can kind
sense.
of like play around a 5 cost carry is when you're insanely rich and you know that you can just make it to level 9 guaranteed. And then you can kind of guarantee hitting that 5 cost. But this game, like if you want to put these items on Savika, like, I mean, you can roll on A tier. There's good odds you just don't see a Savika the entire game. And
Right.
then you can't really play around her.
Um, I was battling with this idea, and I honestly now rewatching, I think I should have taken this.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
because those items on Gangplank definitely would work very well on Jinx, and then I could take the Darius items, put it on Vi,
Mm-hmm.
and it would just be an insane combo, and I just didn't. I
Yeah.
think because my mind in the same realm of what we're talking about is okay. I'm aiming for Sevica,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and so I think it's just misjudgment, poor misjudgment on my part.
Yeah, no, I think Sisters is probably your best bet here. Like it actually kind of solves both your issues of like where do I put the collector and stuff and where do I put the Starax and stuff. Like it is kind of like it's going to be a little bit of a weird game, but like you can
Yeah.
probably make it work. But yeah, I do think you're correct that that's your best option, but it's very weird. But yeah,
Um, and then Scavenger, I really don't like this one.
I
I've
agree.
taken
Yeah.
it a few times. It's just so wonky, and if you lose like your front line, it's really not going to help you. I think between these, I should have taken this. I took this because I had the
Hmm.
choice, but I think I should have just taken this because I also get the 2/4 cost.
Yep. I generally
Oh, I
like.
did
Oh, you
take it.
do take teaming
Okay.
up.
Well,
Okay, I like teaming up.
I got Twitch, and then I ended up getting an Elise, and I should have. I don't
I
know.
I would yeah, I would be down to hold on to the Twitches here. Like once again, Twitch holds this Guinsoo IE collector very well. It's gonna be awkward. You're probably gonna have to play like Twitch and some enforcers and stuff, like Twitch Vi type game, which is a bit weird.
Mm,
But like you have Twitch pair here. Like you could level here and roll and your odds of hitting Twitch 2 are quite high. And then you play like, like 3 experiment Twitch. Like we end up hitting like, I don't know, like an Elise 2 or something like that. We also roll on 7. I mean, yeah, you just want to go on 8 and roll. Like this almost looks like we actually do find a Savika on
yeah.
7? Huh? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Why not? Why shouldn't we have it? Okay. Um, Oh yeah, and we're at about time, so I guess we can't finish this VOD. But yeah, I mean, I think this game you went down a weird route here. Yeah, you end up 6 pit fighter, 4 form swapper. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
ended up
mean,
getting 2-star Jace.
somehow you make it to 2-star Jace. I don't know how this even. But I guess you were winning some fights with Savika. But yeah, I just in general I don't like the idea of playing for a board like this. Just because you're not guaranteed that you're going to be able to get to Savika or Jace, and that is going to make life difficult.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, awesome. Any last second questions?
Um, No, I don't think so. I think my biggest thing for one is play around the traits, but two, I think I don't think I'm gonna have a. I think I'm gonna go into every game with the intent of not looking, like maybe having an idea of like a route, but not just being so tunnel visioned on the end game build, because
Hmm.
I think that really does. I think that really messes me up.
Yeah, I think having a game plan is good, but being open to changing that game plan is the most important thing. You know, like
Yeah,
have an idea of what you want to play, um, but if you hit something else, be completely open to changing that.
that makes sense.
Okay, well, this was
All
great.
right.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
absolutely. All right, I will talk to you later. Good luck in your
You
games.
too. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, thank you. All
There
right,
you
bye.
go.